And just as I get older, I'm just like becoming more and more jaded. Like, I don't want to make anybody laugh anymore. Last girl I fucking made laugh, broke my heart, I guess. But, now it's all fucking, now I'm working for the career, baby. I'm on stage.
The world's a stage.
Yeah. Oh, the world is a girl I'm trying to fuck. I don't even believe in the friend zone, really. I don't believe that it's 100% real. I think there's small things that are friend zone-y, but I don't believe that it's a real thing,
It's a man-made construct. Everything around us isn't a real thing unless you can touch it.
Oh, that's so true, dude.
Yeah,
wow.
Man. Let's get deep.
The friend zone is a lot like the wheel, it's just made by men. The friend zone really is only something that manifests in like the high school, college years when you still don't know how to just be like okay with yourself not getting laid. Like, when you in your high school and you just don't know how to hit on a girl or anything, that's when you create this, I'm in the friend zone because I waited too long and blah, 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 blah. But as adults, we just go, let's just walk away from this. This seems like a real nice walk away situation. If you're an adult and you're complaining about the friend zone, then you're a fucking loser, dude.
You can't laugh at that.
Welcome to You Can't Laugh at That, the podcast where we take topics you can't laugh at and we find ways to laugh at them in the never-ending quest to prove that anything can be funny. Steve's here today. Steve, what's up?
Hello. How are we?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm doing fantastic.
We should start a podcast where it's just awkward small talk the whole time. Just like, so how are the kids? What's going on with the weather where you are?
How'd you know I have kids? In the closet.
Yeah. In the closet. That's the episode that's coming out this Monday. That's about Megan's Law. But we're not talking about Megan's Law today. We are talking about the friend zone. And joining us to do that is self-proclaimed friend zone expert.
I mean, this is crazy. I'll let you introduce me, Brendan Sagalow. But it's crazy. It's so funny that I just have this one joke about it, and then I went on Ari's podcast and talked about it. But now I'm this guy. Everyone is hitting me up, trying to give me advice. They're like, I've gotten laid before. I know how to. I'm not. I don't even believe in the friend zone, really. I don't believe that it's 100% real. I think there's small things that are friend zone-y, but I don't believe that it's a real thing,
It's a man-made construct. Everything around us isn't a real thing unless you can touch it.
Oh, that's so true, dude.
Yeah,
wow.
Man. Let's get deep.
The friend zone is a lot like the wheel, it's just made by men to make other people feel bad. The friend zone really is only something that manifests in like the high school, college years when you still don't know how to just be like okay with yourself not getting laid. Like, when you in your high school and you just don't know how to hit on a girl or anything, that's when you create this, I'm in the friend zone because I waited too long and blah, 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 blah. But as adults, we just go, let's just walk away from this. This seems like a real nice walk away situation. Yeah. I'm not getting laid. I'm out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's an excuse. It's how we cope with rejection. Like now I get told no all the time, and that doesn't even have to do with women. Like I'm talking just like I email somebody to jump on the podcast. They're like, nah, probably not. Or like I do speaking and I like try to, get in with organizations and like, hey, I can help you. And they're like, no, you can't. We're good.
Yeah.
Like,
life is filled with rejections, but you're not going like, oh man, I've been comic zoned or whatever.
Right.
Like I've been job zoned, but there is a little thing that is pretty friend zoney where if you let a girl know that like, yeah, maybe, I'm into you, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, can we just be friends? And you're like, sure, whatever. And then they use that as for attention. I've noticed that before. Women could be fucking leeches like that, where they're like, oh, I'm going to pretend flirt with that. You become their like gay best friend that they're like, he's my boyfriend. Just kidding. And then you're like, I have feelings for you. Why would you say this to me? That's insane.
And that I think that's a good segue into your bit. So let's play it, and then we'll talk a little bit. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that.
Are you playing it in front of me?
Yeah, you can walk away. This is a good chance to refill your coffee.
Oh, no. All right, let's play it. Oh, God.
This is off of Brendan's album, Not Now More Than Ever, which is available wherever you can get albums.
Women have tricks. They do. Here are the tricks. Here's what I've learned in my time in the friend zone. When women know that you're attracted to them, you try to subtly slip in like dude and bro in every sentence. That's a real fucking thing, right? That's a real thing. You just go like, what are you doing tonight, bro? I'm like, not fucking you, I guess. What are you doing tonight, dude? It doesn't change the way we feel about you. You know what I mean? You think calling us dude and bro, you think that's gonna make us go like, oh, we're friends. Let's go skateboarding then. It doesn't change the way we feel about you. So when you're like, all right, have a good night, dude. I'm like, I'm in love with you, my guy. I see you every time I close my eyes. Old buddy, old pal. Here's another thing you guys do, and this is an indication. If you're friends with a woman, you can tell how much she doesn't find you attractive by how far her lower body is when you give her a hug. You know what I'm talking about? Like if you hug a woman and she's like, okay, I love you. You're like, please don't say that. I had a girl once that I was like so into. She hugged me like this, and I just started eating hummus off her back. I was like, okay, a little plate. Wait, garçon, some couscous, please, couscous. Here's another thing. The last thing that I realized
is that it's painful to listen to yourself, man. I'm sweating, dude. I'm sweating. I didn't even remember that I did that hugging joke. That was like I completely forgot about that.
It's super relatable though. That's one of those things where it's like, oh, they do that. And
they do that. Yeah.
I
get it. They don't want to feel our balls and shit, which I'm sure they do. Like whenever a chick gives you a hug, I'm sure at some point they do feel your fucking dick and balls. You know what I mean? Especially if you're like into them. So like there's more swelling happening. Mm-hmm. I get that.
Right.
But no one talks about it.
Not enough people, at least.
Yeah.
And you brought it to the forefront of conversation. So tell us a little bit. First of all, that was recorded outside. Yeah.
Yeah, that was on a roof in Gramercy, right by the Flatiron Building. It was we thank God we packed it out. I mean, people were tested, I think. I have no fucking idea. But they, and thank God it didn't rain or anything. There were so many things that like could have gone wrong. It could have rained. People could have not shown up. It's right next to another building that has parties all the time. And I was like, if they have a party at like, because we did 2 shows, and I was like, if they have a party at 9, which they normally do, like we're fucked. Like we can't use the second show. And they just didn't have a party then.
The stars aligned.
It all came into fruition or whatever the fuck.
So how long had you been working on that bit before the album recording?
The My Guy bit. I worked on that for a couple of months, I guess, maybe like 2 or 3, I think. And then that was one of those that just kind of clicked immediately. Like as soon as I said the My Guy thing, everybody fucking laughed. And I was like, all right, well, there's something there. The hugging thing, I don't think I worked on it enough. It doesn't really have any punchlines in it. It's just kind of like an observation. And thank God, when you're doing an album, everybody's like there for you and everything. So it's like you could really say whatever you want and it'll work. But that joke wasn't working. And I was like, all right, let me just throw it in there anyway. I should have waited and maybe did it in my next hour, but whatever. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it could be a starting point for a whole other bit too.
Totally.
So the whole thing is super relatable. Just because, people will, girls will throw those things out there, those subtle hints. It's like, no, man, I'm not into you. Like, I know, I can tell you're into me. Let's keep this at this level, this platonic level. Was there like an instance where like this joke came to mind?
Yeah, well, that summer, the summer that I wrote that joke, I was kind of in this dry spell for a little bit. And I remember talking to this girl who I was going out on a date. So I thought, and she was like, we set up a whole thing, and then she was like, I'm kind of feeling sick. And this was the beginning of COVID. And she was like, I'm kind of feeling sick. I could see if whatever, maybe we can make this happen, blah, 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 blah. And I go, no, you're sick. Just don't. She goes, oh, okay. And then I sent her, I had a joke lined up because I'm a fucking dildo. But I went, here's a sexy picture of me without a shirt on so that you'll feel better. And then I sent her a picture of Michael B. Jordan. And I sent the first part. So it went, whoo, and then she immediately, like, as the image was waiting to be sent, you know how images take a little bit longer? She sent, thanks, you're a good friend. And I was like, ooh. And then the Michael B. Jordan, woo, it just sent immediately. And I was like, I'm such a queef. Oh my God. And chicks do that shit all the time where they're like, women do say dude and bro, and like that is now in their vocabulary. But I do think there's a thing where you know what the fuck you're doing. If there's a guy that you know that likes you, when you call him friend or you call him dude, you're trying to not hurt his feelings. So, it's subtle. But that's because, men hurt women. You know what I mean? So if that's why women aren't completely honest, they have to tiptoe around how they feel to get us to say the thing. They don't just say how they feel. No matter the most lucid chick in the world, the most lucid person in the world, but mostly women, I think they'll tiptoe around just so that they don't hurt our feelings, so we don't flip out on them because they think we're crazy and we think they're crazy. And there's just a whole fucking miscommunication, there's just communication problems with men and women that will never fucking go away, it seems.
Right. You make a really good point too. That's one that I hadn't that I hadn't considered. But now that you say that, like what comes to mind is like all these screen grabs of DMs from dudes who got rejected that are just insane.
Dude, it's nuts, man. Like the amount of, you really got to feel bad for women in this sense where it's like they say no to somebody and I think like what I would say like 5 out of 10 times, I don't even know. The guy's like, well, you're a fat slut anyway, so who cares? But on the other hand of that, it's like, you think I'm going to do that? I hate that people fucking bring their past traumas onto you. And that men and women both do that, where they're like, well, I think, I've had women, especially recently, I had this girl be like, I think you're lying. And I'm like, I'm not lying. Stop bringing the whatever bullshit that you had with some other guy onto me, because I'm not fucking lying. I might hold in my feelings, but I'm not going to lie about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Man, I hadn't thought about it that way before. I just like rejection in a lot of cases, like we're raised to think that rejection is like the worst thing that can happen, when really it's just kind of it's just like a misdirect. It's just like redirect what you're doing, like redirect your strategy, learn from it, do something else. There's plenty other options.
Yeah. And it makes you strong.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. And I think the calling something the friend zone it's like a deferment of that. You're like putting off getting better as a human. Like what's so bad about getting a new friend?
Well, when it's based on that you want to fuck them, then, whatever. I think, I'm just at a point where I'm like, all right, I don't think I want any new friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think I've met every type of person. I think I'm friends with every single type of person. I just can't, and it's like, why do we have to force a friendship now? If I like you, or you like me and I don't like you, why are we forcing a friendship here? You know what I mean? Why even like, when you like break up with someone and they're like, can we still be friends? And it's like, why? What's the point of that? Mm-hmm. So that we can maybe fuck at some point and then make this whole thing weird again,
Yeah. I've done that. Full disclosure, we've all been there. I'm like, let's be friends. Let's do that. In the back of my mind, I'm like, but in a couple weeks.
Yeah, well, it's hard too, because when like my ex is 40 minutes away. She lives in Long Island. I live in fucking Astoria. Mm-hmm. And she's said to me a couple of months ago that she was like, can we just be like fuck buddies? and I have to like restrain myself from calling her and being like, do you want to come over and have sex? It's so hard when it's right. I don't know how she'd feel now, but maybe things have changed. But like for a couple of weeks when just knowing it was right on the table, but everything would be fucked if we did that, it was the hardest thing. It still is. It still is, dude. It still fucking is. Maybe I'll call her tonight.
Yeah, let us know. But I mean, that temptation is there to at least try. And that's why I feel like being friends is kind of off the table in a lot of cases.
Yeah, of course. It's like, I don't care. My therapist all the time. I'm always like, well, like whenever I go through a fucking breakup or whatever, or like some sort of thing that didn't work out, I'm always like, oh man, I thought she was so cool. And, maybe we could I still want to be like friends with her. Like he's always like, delete her from everything, get rid of her out of your life and move the fuck on. And I'm like, well, what if we like still want to be friends? And he's like, what's the point? Why do you still want to be friends? It's not, it's a lie. The friendship is a lie. So why would you,
Yeah. I dated a girl for 2.5 years and we were friends before that. Like we went to high school together. We were friends in high school and then we went to college, like went our separate ways. And then like she moved back to our hometown after she graduated from college and we just kind of like hit it off and struck up a relationship. And then for like 2 years of that was long distance. Like I was living in New York. She was living in Cleveland, and then it just didn't work out. And we did the whole like, oh, let's be friends thing. Cause it was just one of those things where we both knew where it was like, oh, this isn't going to work. So I got out of the friend zone into the relationship and then like back in the friend zone when it was like, oh yeah, no, we're not compatible. And the whole friendship thing, like that was on the table because we knew it worked better that way. Because like most of our relationship, we were apart, and when we were together, it was cool. But then like looking at it as like, oh, is this a thing that's going to last forever? No, it's not. This isn't sustainable.
No.
So just that realization. So I've the friend zone's been a thing, and
yeah, but like I think the friend zone is just a way to encapsulate that whole fucked up tornado of feelings. You know what I mean? Because it's harder to look at it and go, what is this? It's all from person to person, and it's all gray. It's all it's like that. But it's easy to just go, oh, I was friend zoned, and then just walk away.
Yeah, let's put it in this category so I can just use 2 words and everybody that I'm talking to who has no idea what the situation is can understand it.
Yeah. I feel like you could get friend zoned after fucking a chick too. You know what I mean? You could be like, you could like sleep with someone and then, they could be like, can we just be friends? And you're like, fuck. Dude.
Yeah, that's almost worse. I would rather get rejected before that.
I don't know. I think about that. I'm constantly going back and forth with that where I'm like, well, at least I, you go, hey, at least I fucking hit.
Yeah.
Right?
I conquered.
Yeah. But then you go, my heart's on the line more now and it all fucking sucks. Where if someone just doesn't like you, which happens, I've had multiple times where I've like asked a girl, I've asked to be like, hey, shouldn't we hook up right now? Or like, shouldn't we make out? And they just don't say anything and move on with whatever the fuck they were talking about. And then I go home and then a week later, I'm like, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But if we did hook up and then I was texting and I was falling in love or whatever, I'd be so much more hurt later.
Yeah. So it's better just to kind of rip the Band-Aid off.
Exactly.
I've never actually used like, I don't know if I've ever in a conversation been like, yeah, man, she friend zoned me. Like, I don't love the term. It's just like, it didn't work. There have been plenty of cases where, there could be something here. There could be something here. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, cool. Moving on.
It's just so queefy to say out loud. It's like saying you're shadow banned. You know what I mean? You're just like, it's like so edgelordy and queefy and just like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like, no, you didn't get friend zoned. It's so victim. It's like you're making yourself a victim.
Right.
But I will say again, so when sometimes, or even men, you could get friend zoned by a dude. They know what they're doing. They're keeping you around for the attention. That's what they want. They want to feel, because our humans love feeling power. Like we like being like, ooh, I have the power in my dynamic with this other human. So if there's someone that's like, oh man, they want to hook up with me, I'm the best. I have power over that person. You know what I mean? Which could change immediately. Like I've had power dynamics change. Like, there was a girl who we kind of recently kind of went our separate ways. And now when she texts me and it's like, woo, 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 I'm like, look at me. I have the fucking power here. And then if I go, woo, and it's the last word and she doesn't answer back, I go, fuck, you got the fucking power.
That's a good point. I mean, we do kind of have that dynamic with most people that we talk to that are on the periphery, like not like close friends. You're not like, I have the power over, Steve, I have the power over you. That's not.
Sometimes though, sometimes you do that where you're like, who's the alpha friend here? Right.
I feel like the friend zone is a very beta way of looking at things. It really shows kind of like your self-worth, your self-image to like you said, it's kind of an excuse. And to me, the excuses people make are always funny. Like if I do a joke about human behavior, about something somebody did, chances are it's going to be centered around whatever excuse they made.
Yeah, it is an excuse. It is such a queefy kind of thing. And when going back to the power thing is like, power doesn't even exist with people. Like if you're thinking of interpersonal relationships and you're like, oh, she has the power. She only has the power because her actions affect your feelings. So as long as you go, oh, I don't give a fuck what she says or does to me. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm not ashamed of feeling how I feel. You immediately have the power. It's a very strange fucking thing. And it also probably doesn't exist.
Right. Nobody sits there in a relationship is like, who has the power today?
I mean, if you've been in a relationship, it does kind of do that.
Oh, it does. But just like having that conscious, like self-talk, that's weird to me.
Kind of like dating sites nowadays where everybody's like does this things like, I don't care. Like you play chicken as to who cares less about the other person. That's very toxic on those dating sites.
It sucks,
ghosty, dude. And ghosting is entirely normal, and there's no communication.
Dude, it just fucking sucks. Those dating apps are pieces of shit. They just make you feel bad. You're just scrolling, judging how people look. Every time I get on a dating app, I go like, I look at a girl and I go, okay, all right, yes. No, I'm like reading their bio, and then it just starts going like, yes. And it just, it's so toxic.
It's very, very surface level. We put such a high level of importance on something that's so low stakes. I feel like, there's so many people out there. It's not if you don't get one, it's like you have this limited scope of the way things are. Like there's so much out there, you travel, when you get back on the road, like there's people in every city. There's 8 million people in your city. Like, there's, just,
you just fucking forget, your heart just fucking makes you forget. You know what I mean? Like every time I have a friend who's just going through it, and he's like, oh man, but she's so cool and blah, blah, blah. I always say to them, well, do you remember the last girl that you were fucking bummed out about? And he's like, no, not really. I do, but I don't care. I go, do you care about him now? No, not really. And then you moved on to another person? Yeah, whatever. And I always give that advice, and I fucking suck at taking it because I always go, there'll be another one. There's plenty of fish, all that fucking shit. And then I meet this girl and she breaks my heart. And I'm like, I guess I'll never meet anyone again and I'll kill myself.
Yeah. Now you got to get talked off that ledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're the worst at taking our own advice. I mean, that's true of anything.
Yeah.
It's so easy when it's like, when it's somebody else going through it, you just be like, oh, well, why Why don't you look at it this way? It's because I'm in the middle of it right now. All right, leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly. But you just have to. It's hard because you don't want to fight the feelings. You just want to. You want to look at them. You want to look at them and let them flow through you like a river, as much as your breath flows through you. You don't think about your breaths. They just in, out, in, out. It should be the same thing with your feelings and your thoughts and emotions.
Mm-hmm. And again, this goes back to this stigma of rejection, right? We don't like being told no. I find myself, and I'm sure you're the same way, that like if you're when you were like working to get past at certain clubs, like you have you hold this future, this potential thing, like, oh, if this happens, then then I'm going to get booked at this club, and then I'll get to tour, and then I'll get it out, and then everyone's going to love me, and then you get rejected, and you're like, everything comes crashing down. Yeah,
you future trip fucking hard on shit, and everything is, and it just doesn't, nothing matters. Who knows? You could have gotten past at that club, and then it could burn down with you in it, and you could have died, dude. Like, and especially some of the clubs in New York should be burnt to the ground. So,
oh my God.
There's that fucking, that's an old like Zen kind of story thing where they say this Chinese farmer had a horse run away, and his neighbors said to him, oh, that's so unfortunate. He said, maybe. He didn't give a shit. And then the horse came back with 3 other wild horses, and they went, whoa, that's like great fortune. And he was like, maybe. And then his son hops on the horse. One of the wild horses throws him off. He breaks his leg forever. And the neighbors go, oh, that sucks. And the farmer still goes, maybe, who knows? And then the army rolls through, and they're trying to get these men with working legs, and they see his kid, and they're like, well, we're not taking that. And the neighbors are like, wow, that's pretty lucky. And the neighbor's like, maybe, I don't know. Who knows? You got to stay in the fucking moment. You can't be thinking about the future. You can't be worrying about the past.
Right. That's one of those. Yeah. You deal with it in the moment. Like you can't live in this imagined future.
Yeah, and exactly.
I mean, the whole friend zone concept, I think it lives in that neighborhood, along with getting on stage and like a joke not working. This could be working on this joke for exactly. It doesn't matter.
Nothing matters.
Yeah.
It's the amount of shit that I talk about with my therapist about how we're always like my worries when it comes to stand up and everything is, I mean, besides, becoming a nobody and living in just mediocrity. But other than that, I'm like, cool. If a joke doesn't work, I don't give a fuck. If I bomb a show, I don't give a fuck. If the show does well, good for me, but I still don't give a fuck. And I have to take that into everything else, because I do not do that. I always go like, oh, well, what if she calls me and then and I just have to look at it like, what if this is like a show? Who fucking cares? We're all going to die. Who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm. So do you analogize like things that happen in your life to stand-up comedy?
No, I should. I don't. If I did, it would be a lot easier, but I don't. And I just, instead I meditate, and I try to like think, because I don't know. I have no idea. I've been doing comedy so long. It's kind of like second nature. It's like, oh, when I go to grab something, I can bend my fingers. I don't think about bending my fingers. I just fucking do it. So it's the same with stand-up. If I go up and I bomb, I go, whatever. There will be 1,000 more shows, a million more shows. And then they'll all catch on that I'm a phony. And then there'll be no shows. And
but until then.
Yeah, exactly. But until then, I'm just riding high.
Oh man, Steve, what about you? Like, how do you like when getting rejected? Like, what's your instincts in the moment before rational thought kicks in?
Oh, I just don't care anymore. Yeah, I'm broken. Yeah, that's fun. After having your heart broken way when you were much younger, you just go through life not caring anymore. I don't ask women out. I don't flirt with women. I wait till women ask me out, which doesn't happen all the time. But when it does, even that may not work out because they just don't understand me. I don't like dating sites because women don't get my personality. They don't see that. I just come out very boring, and makes me very insecure. So I just don't even like that. Yeah. That's why just getting to that first date is important, because if you can get to the first date, then you can you can showcase your personality and stuff like that. And if that doesn't work out, whatever. But yeah, I just don't care. I don't text obsessively like I did when I was younger in my early 20s. I don't do anything like, I don't get clingy. I don't give a fuck. And guess what?
That's great.
It works. I don't pay attention to women. I ignore them, and I ignore them intentionally to the point where they know I'm ignoring them, and that makes them intrigued if they like me already, or if they're like, if they're attracted to me. So those
I don't know, dude. I think that attracts the wrong kind of girls.
Oh wait, I don't know. I like
because this is how I'm looking at it. This is how I'm looking. I'm not
like the wrong kind of girl.
I'm not trying to yuck your yum here, but I'm just saying, like,
no, it's okay.
I think a more intelligent woman would see that and go, "What a fucking come on! Wait, is he not looking at me because I'm a woman? What the fuck?"
These rules change when I get good signals from people. Then I start having more healthy, reactions. But those types of women don't come around very often.
Okay.
And I don't know. Every woman I've dated has been in that category, but that's like the tip of the iceberg. That's the top of the pyramid. Everything below is what I'm talking about. Yeah. So when you get to that point, then it's like, all right, I communicate with you, all these other things, but it's like, you got to earn that because
Totally, dude. I give that shit up. I was trying to talk about this on stage, but it was more like real that it is funny. But when I meet a woman that I'm really into, I just become this fucking like bear clown. I'm just constantly trying to make them laugh. And I'm like coming in, I'm like, riding a unicycle, and I'm just, juggling banana peels, and the banana peels hit me in the head. I slip on the banana peel, anything to get a fucking laugh. And then my insecurities start going, you have to keep being like that. But the rub here is that eventually, at first they're like, oh, clown bear. Yeah, I love it. But then after a week, they're like, get this fucking bear out of my house. I hate this. It's ruining the china and everything. And I'm just constantly insecure that a woman is going to leave and hate me because they normally do.
When I was in my early 20s, I used to like always try to make women laugh, and it would work. I mean, that was kind of where I developed my sense of humor, which is very different from what I do nowadays. It's completely different. But I don't try to be funny. I don't know. It just feels like I fail too easily at it. I don't want to bomb, so I don't bother to even get myself in that position, which is weird because I totally could. I just don't. I don't try to be funny over text. That's just not going to happen because if you don't already understand my personality, it's just too much of a risk for me. I think I'm afraid of taking risks.
Yeah, I know. I text too much, and then I feel fucking weird when they're not answering me, and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm like, what am I, a Gen Z kind of person? Yeah. The fuck? What am I doing? What am I sending them TikToks? Ugh." And just as I get older, I'm just like becoming more and more jaded. Like, I don't want to make anybody laugh anymore. Last girl I fucking made laugh, broke my heart, I guess. But now it's all fucking. Now I'm working for the career, baby. I'm on stage.
The world's a stage.
Yeah. Oh, the world is a girl I'm trying to fuck.
Do you like strategically text? Like, ooh, I don't want to come across as like I was waiting for that text message. I'm going to wait like 20 minutes and make her wait.
No, not until it's weird. Yeah. Until it's like I'm like myself until feelings start getting on the fucking line. Mm-hmm. And then, there'll be a moment where they're like, ooh, I don't want this and you want this, or like, whatever. And then we're still talking for some reason. And then I'm like, oh, don't text right away because you've already put your heart on the line. You don't have any more room in your fucking not killing myself brain to put myself more on the line. If I do any more, I'm going to fucking jump off of the George Washington Bridge. So I that's when I get very strategic, when I'm like, oh, just be cool, man. Just write 1K.
Is that too many exclamation points? Like, what's the limit on emojis?
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes unnatural. And it's like, why would you want to live that way?
Exactly, dude. I find myself doing that all the time where I'm like, why am I trying to impress this girl that I don't give a shit that I wouldn't want to be with, actually?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. If you're not having fun, like why would you want to further that?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't understand. I don't understand why I'm like that, but I just am.
I'm like, I think it's just human nature. It's that like, I don't want, we want to be alone. We don't want to be alone. We want to have that ability to have like control over a situation. That power dynamic, like what you're talking about, that's basic human nature. We want to have that sense of importance. That's like biology. That's like one of the things that makes us feel fulfilled. If we feel like we have a sense of not control, but like, people depend on us. Like we want that.
Yeah.
Sad. It is.
But also, as you get older, you get over that shit and you become better at it. You know what I mean? If I was in my early 20s and something that happened to me recently happened, I'd be like on my bed. I wouldn't even be able to do this podcast. I'd be like crying and like looking out of a window, hoping it rains every day so that I could like throw on, like Fountains of Wayne and just listen to fucking music and be sad, But now I'm like, whatever. There's other people. Who cares?
Right. Can you recall like the first time that you got friend zoned or
first time, huh?
Yeah.
No, I can't. First time, man. No, I can't. I really can't. Because I think the friend zone for me was any woman I've ever come into contact with that's shown me any kind of positive reinforcement, I've fallen in love with. And it's always just, and I never tell them. So I just you get yourself into the friend zone. I just don't tell them how I feel. Once you say like, you gotta put your shit out there immediately. You go, this is how I feel about you. You want to go out on it, blah, 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 with me? I think the most recent one, the one that like was like 2 years, was like this girl in college, this chick that I was in love with. Her name is Caitlin, and I just really liked her, and she was bisexual, but now she is. I just never told her how I felt, and I was like, I should have told her, and then I was like, it's too late, and I just would fantasize about telling her, and now it's weird because we're friends, and it's like, but now she lives in Arizona with her girlfriend, so I think I made, no big loss there.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah,
worked out the long run.
Turns out she's a girl, but now I don't think I haven't gotten friend zoned in forever. I just go. I put my intentions out there. If they go, I thought we'd just be friends, and I go, yeah, that's fine, and I just walk away. I don't even look at it like, I'm in this thing. I just go, well, good luck not talking to me ever again. Yeah, because I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to talk to you as much. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm like, not going to go out of my way.
I'm literally like hitting on you and like doing all that shit. But once you go like, I don't see you romantically, I go, okay, well then say goodbye to all that other stuff, because there was a reason for all that shit,
Yeah. No hard feelings. Thanks for letting me know. Bye.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you learn how to take rejection, you're good. You are good.
Yeah. I remember I was in high school. I was at this party and this girl that I really liked was there. And like, we were talking, and then I kissed her and she goes, why did you just kiss me? And I was like, yeah, that's probably not a good sign. Like,
that's a horrible sign. Yeah. That is a horrible sign.
Why did you just kiss me? Like,
why did you kiss me back?
Yeah.
Did she kiss you back?
Not really.
I
was seeing signs that weren't there, and I was like, yeah, you're probably right. That probably.
What are you gonna do, dude?
Yeah.
I had a chick when I was in high school or college that was throwing the signs at me, and I went in for a kiss, and she went, what are you doing? She like pulled back. What are you doing? And I just didn't even know how to say. I wish I had I mean, there's no use thinking about it now, but I wish I had the intelligence to be like, hey, I thought I was getting signs from you. We've been hanging out all day. It's my fucking birthday, by the way. So like, you're hanging out with me. You made a point to hit me up on my birthday, and like, also we were laying together, cuddling. That's when I made the move. So, but instead I just went, I don't know. I said to her, I have no idea. And and then it was fucking weird.
Yeah. Right. It would be better if we don't have the mental skills at that point or the emotional skills to handle rejection at that level in our lives. It's just like, I didn't. So like from then on, I pretended I was blacked out. So
really?
She was like, dude, she was like, do you remember when do you remember what happened the other night? And I was like, not really. It's all kind of a blur. And she was like, okay. Like, you tried to kiss me. And I was like, I did? What?
That's an old trick, dude. Women
Yeah.
women utilize that trick a lot. If they have like one beer and then you try to hook up with them, they're like, what? I don't even remember. It was so crazy. And you're like, fuck you. You remember, you idiot. You know? But all this stuff just makes you better at it. You just go like, okay, well, now I know what to do in this situation, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. One no isn't no forever.
Oh, man. I went to this chick's house the other night and I went to hook up with her and we kissed for a little bit. And then she kind of not pushed me away, but she was like, we were playing a video game together and I kissed her. And then she picked up the controller again and looked around me and started playing the video game. And
That's funny.
Ooh, that hurt. And then she just started talking about the game. We were playing Breath of the Wild and she's like, ooh, look at these temple shrines. And I was like, I'm sorry that I was like, oh, I'm sorry that I just hooked up with you. I was like, was that weird? And she's like, no. She's like, should I get a bamboo stick for? And I'm like, all right. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. I went home very shortly after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't care. The only bamboo stick I want you to get is mine.
Yeah, right.
Right. Let's get into your temple shrine.
Yeah.
Steve, anything? Any like your first time getting the old
rejection?
Probably not.
Well, what do you mean? Like what?
You ever go in for a kiss and some chick's like, you know, what are you doing or something like that, or no?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
What was that first time?
I can't remember a first time that there was any sort of like rejection of that. I'd say they're probably more recent, or where you're just like, clearly someone comes over to like hook up or something, and then you're like, they're like not giving you any opportunities, even though that's what they still want, and they made that clear. But they're just being difficult, and it's like, all right, well, get out of here. Like, I don't know what you're making this really hard for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, no, that stuff isn't like very easy to remember because I'm sure it's happened before, but it's like, I don't know. Yeah.
What, you just block it out?
Yeah,
probably. But
you know. Everybody's so different, dude. I remember there was a girl that I was talking to outside of a bar, and we were hanging out in the bar the entire time. We went outside the bar, and this was back when I would like ask women if I could kiss them, which is so just giving them the opportunity to be like, no, you know. So I went, hey, can I like kiss you or whatever? And she was like, oh, I don't know. And I went, you want to try? And she was like, I just don't think so. And I went, okay, no problem. And I was like, you could still see though, like, you know, we're hitting it off, just being completely creepy. And she was like, you know what? You're right. She was like, you're right. She was like, we were hitting it off. Let's see what this feels like. And we kissed and I went, anything? And she went, a little. And I went, there you go. You know, so everybody's fucking different. What are you going to do?
I have a history of kicking women out of my apartment because I don't like their personality. Where everything is entirely like consensual, there's very clear communication. But then when I meet them in person, I'm like, I don't like you. And they're like, can I at least sleep on the couch? No, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's
no, you can't sleep on the couch. Go back to fucking wherever you came from. Because you're being a real
you know what.
Yeah. I don't know.
So you friend zoned them.
Yeah, I've done that many times, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, no, get out of here. Like,
yeah.
And
nothing, I was gonna say there's nothing worse than like having someone over that you just, men or women, it's like having someone over that you're just like, oh God, this was a mistake.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? The only difference is men are like, once we bang, you're out. You know, women will be like, I have to get up early tomorrow because my period's coming. And you're just like, all right, bye.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, no, my first and only Bumble date, this girl was a babe. And then we just started having a conversation. I was like, oh, there's nothing here. Like there's no connection there. It's all right.
I had a girl say to me recently, this is how I knew I wasn't into her. We're just laying together and she turns to me and she goes, we're watching a movie together and she goes, oh, you're a captions guy. And I was like, get the fuck out of my house. I was like, yeah, I like to read. Okay. I like reading the writing. I'm an artist. Okay, you unintelligent swine.
Yeah, this is better for your brain. I don't know if you knew that, but
you guys are bringing out all the negative experiences of my life. I'll be honest with you, they're very few and far between, but I would say just for the record, especially since I know at least some of these girls are listening to this podcast, or some of them.
What?
Yeah, well, I'm still friends with. I'm still friends with.
Christ.
No, none of the negative experiences. I mean the positive. I want to qualify that every girl I've actually dated has been like an angel, like a really good person. I'm friends with the vast majority of them, and they're like really nice people. So they're not included.
Yeah. Well, even the girls that even that girl, the captions girl, was like a really nice girl. Like she was awesome. We just didn't hit it off, you know?
Yeah.
No, you're a captions guy. That's really funny.
Oh, you're a captions guy? And I just was that made me furious.
You should have been like, what?
Yeah. I'm like, can you write that down?
No, you should totally write. That's funny, man.
Yeah. Maybe I'll talk about that on stage.
You're a captions guy. That's such like a weird thing to be disgusted by.
Yeah. So, ooh, you're a captions guy. It was like, fuck you. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I want to take in the entire art. I like it.
But I guess when you are kind of in that environment with somebody where like it's a first date or you're hanging out to see if it's a date, your like your sensory levels are fine tuned. Like you're looking for reasons not to. Like you're looking for the little things that you wouldn't if you were just hanging out as bros. You know, you wouldn't be like, captions.
If we were hanging out as bros, I would be like laying into them for saying that.
Yeah,
but I guess I kind of did that too. I was like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
I got mad at her. Yeah. Not really, but I did.
You know. Regardless of positive experiences I've had with girls I dated before, I would say that the biggest reason I'll usually be like, oh, this is not going to work out. Like there'll be a moment. There's always moments where you're like, oh my God, she's insane.
Yeah.
Where first of all, anything woo that comes in besides Wu-Tang Clan, anything that's like really like astrology, like I mean that's okay because I mean you can't avoid that, you know. But like, you know, if she orders some Lisa Frank tarot cards, that's the
it's a little. It's like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah,
it's not even really that, but I'm just saying that kind of like comedically. But when they say something just completely bonkers about like supernatural stuff, I'm just like, no, it's not going to work out.
Men also have that fucking shit where it's like the shit that we must say to women. This is how, and I do a joke about this on my album about how like women lie in a nice way to not hurt our feelings sometimes. And like the amount of women that have to just sit there while we're talking about like a zombie movie or something. And they're like, yo, well, you know, like, what would you do if it's like Resident Evil zombies, then I blah, blah, blah. And they go like, totally. And it's like, then they go home, they go, he wouldn't shut the fuck up about zombies and like how to put a nail in a bat. Fucking losers.
It's the equivalent of astrology.
Exactly. Or like us talking about Goodfellas or whatever.
Right.
Ugh.
Right. So how quickly, like from between, you know, the whole adage tragedy plus time equals comedy. In some cases, getting rejected or getting heartbroken or whatever can be, you know, that's tragic. In some cases, how quickly do you adapt that to comedy? Like how quickly are you like, oh, this is something like you shut down that human side of coping and you're just like, I'm going to make it funny for other people.
I talk about it immediately.
Yeah.
I don't put it on Twitter for the most part, and I won't put it on like Instagram or Instagram Reels or whatever, because I just want to talk about it on stage to people. I want to see how people would react to it, not what people's avatars online will react to it. But like, you know, I had a thing recently where me and this comic were kind of seeing each other, and then we had to have this like kind of tough conversation about what we were doing, and I had my expectations and she had different expectations, so we kind of had to like have that conversation. And it was hard. It was a hard conversation. And, you know, we worked through it and everything. And then like a day later, I saw her put up a joke about it or something. And I was like, fucking, hey man, like that's cold blooded, dude. That is cold blooded. But then on the other side of that, yesterday I went up on stage and I talked about that experience. I went, yeah, you know, it's some of you fucking date people that you work. Some teachers date teachers, but you don't have to worry about walking in to the class and having them talk about it. You know what I mean? I have to fucking walk into a show and have this girl, you think you're having a nice conversation and then you think you work through it. And then you walk into a fucking comedy club and she's going, oh, this fat blonde idiot said this to me. And everybody laughs. And then you have to fucking just take it. So that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what and I'm like, I normally don't like talking about women that I'm dating because the karma of that, the feeling that I felt when I saw her post a thing about that, I was like, man, this is how every ex-girlfriend I've ever had felt about when I would go up and I would do jokes about them.
I always have to tell them I won't, because they will ask. They'll be like, are you going to talk about stuff that we... No. I always tell them, unless it's hilarious, no. I don't talk about that stuff. It's not my comedic
unless it's hilarious and I know how to do it hilariously, then I'm not gonna fucking waste my time.
I've found value in making fun of my own behavior, thoughts, things like that, so that I can work through it. I don't have control over the other person, and I feel like when I start writing jokes about things that they did, it almost makes me feel guilty. But if I frame myself as the bad guy in the situation, it not only is it funnier for the audience because I'm the victim here. I'm making myself the victim, or I'm joking about the fact that I've made myself the victim. It also gives me a leg to stand on. It almost gives me power over the situation. It almost makes me feel like I have more control over totally. I can move past this.
And it also just makes it feel better. You're you get off and you're if you get laughs from that, you're whoa, okay. So I turned that into something. And all of the idols or the heroes or whatever. I mean, or I don't know, all the professionals of the stream of consciousness comedy, like Louis or Burr or Pryor or all those guys, they talked about people in their lives and they made it really funny. I don't know how to do that yet. I have no idea how to do. I have to talk about me and how I think and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know. It's hard to be and then this fucking idiot did this and me not feel bad about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always try to bring it back on myself. If I was in that position, how would I have done it? And a lot of times I'll find funny in that because I don't think like a normal person in that, something bad happens, I'm immediately oh, this is funny. Let's figure that out now before actually dealing with my actual feelings. And
for
it's
sure.
Oh, that's funny. And then it just takes me down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's if you can see it right away, then that's awesome. But if not, then I just stew for fucking 3 weeks. I'll force it. And that's not healthy in a lot of cases. Yeah.
No, for sure. Okay, so there are a few different ways to look at, the friend zone. I mean, you can look at it and just full disclosure, anytime any of us are saying friend zone, there's the air quotes around it, whether we actually physically do it or not, because
of course,
what a dumb thing. The idea that it's a bad place, we've kind of talked about that's stemming from our fear and our avoidance of rejection. The egoic mind is it wants to frame ourselves. We want to frame ourselves as better than we actually are.
Yeah.
And getting rejected goes against that. It defies that image that we've built. And so our coping with that, I find a lot of humor in that. When other comics are trying to bridge that gap between this image they've built and then the actual thing that happened. That's funny to me.
Yeah.
and I think you do that, your bit, you focus on dude and bro, and chief. Well, I mean, that's another, you don't use chief, but the words like that, my girlfriend now calls me dude and bro. And I do that back. It's terms of endearment. And
yeah, totally. Which is I completely think that, but it is also for the joke that's funny to be women will call you when they're first talking to you and they know that you like them. They will call you bro on purpose. I think there is, I've done that joke enough times where, for a while when I was trying it out, I was going, is this true? I was asking women in the audience, and a lot of them will be like, no, but then there's at least one or two in every audience that's like, yeah, I do that. Yeah. 100%. And it's
that's all you need.
That's all you need. That's all you need to know that this is a fucking real thing.
No, for sure. I was just as I was listening to it a few minutes ago, I was just imagining what if that continued into the intimate parts of the relationship, you're having sex with the girl and she's like, oh, harder, bro, harder. That would just take me so out of the moment.
That's funny.
I want to friend zone you now. Yeah.
Yeah. Harder, dude. Yeah.
My guy. I'm just
Muchacho.
I don't know. I'm not super into the pet names or
That's fine.
Yeah. But I think it would be funny if I was it's how is that, dude? How is that?
Yeah.
Captain.
Cap.
Then you salute them and then they go on their way.
Yeah.
So I found a clip researching this episode from a comic. I don't know if he's from Portland, but it was done at the Portland Helium.
Okay.
And the whole bit is about how the friend zone is actually a great place. It's Alex Falcone. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No.
Yeah. I enjoyed the bit. And then I found another dude who's like a coach or something on YouTube who's do you remember the pickup artists? So it feels like that kind of grimy. So I want to kind of go through both of these. So let's start with Alex Falcone.
Okay.
That's a bad dude. That's a bad guy in Batman, right? The Falcone.
Falcones.
Okay. Yeah.
I was hanging out with some guys the other day, and one of them was complaining that he had been friend zoned recently, which I am done with as a term, the friend zone. I think it sounds really douchey. To act like just because you pretended to be nice to a lady and she didn't sleep with you, some huge injustice has occurred. Yeah. I put in the 3 compliments. Where's the sex come out? This one's jammed. If you're the kind of guy who says you've been friend zoned, you haven't. She hates you. So. Also, it bothers me because what kind of monster complains about getting new friends? Making new friends as an adult is so difficult. If any of you guys want to friend zone me tonight, let's fucking do it, all right? Let's make brunch plans and play a board game and tell secrets and be there for each other when it really matters and go on a road trip and develop an inside joke and then have a better version of Thanksgiving the week after Thanksgiving without our families there. Let's fucking friend zone, you guys. Yeah. Let's do it. This is a less important point, but also the friend zone as a physical space sounds like the most fun place. That sounds like the island in Pinocchio where all the kids get to play pool and break stuff. That sounds like the friend zone. The friend zone sounds like a hipster bar where you always pay for the next person's drink, and then when you go to the bathroom, there's a sign over it that just says, "I'm proud of you." That's the... I have an idea for a bar if any of you know a McMiniman. Just let me know.
I love his framing of the bit too.
Yeah, that's funny. There also is a little bit in me that's going what are you getting out of this, you fucking douchebag? You know what I mean? There is the white knight thing about it where you're yeah, okay, all right. How many women in the audience were you trying to impress with that bit, you fuck?
Yeah, that's the bit that gets me laid.
Yeah, exactly. But it is a funny bit. I liked when he said, "This one's jammed." That was really funny.
Yeah.
Right. The framing of an actual human to human relationship is like a transaction. It's that's funny to me.
Yeah.
It's what can I get out of this one? I put in the 3 compliments or the 3, whatever. Where's my
compliments? Yeah. But it is true. If you're an adult and you're complaining about the friend zone, then you're a fucking loser, dude.
Oh, for sure. And I also like, the framing it as oh, I'm an adult. I love making friends, or it's hard to make friends as an adult.
Yeah. That's the only part I disagreed with. I was I really do not want any more friends.
Right. but he took it down that here are all the things that we would do together, and this is what making a friend as an adult would be.
Yeah, that was really funny.
right. The actual concept itself, like, whatever. But then he elaborated on it, which I always enjoy. Like, and then framing it as a physical place it takes you out of the context of like friend zone as like getting friend zoned, and now like the friend zone is a water park or it's a bar where
that's really
all
funny.
these positive things happen. Just kind of taking the audience out of the current construct of what it means to be, what a friend zone is, to this abstract place. And you can do that. Like, you can have as much fun with that as possible. Literally, you can take that joke anywhere, like a hypothetical situation.
Yeah.
I love.
Hey, but why don't we get Alex Falcone on the pod?
Yeah, I might. We've done that before, actually. We've actually Greg Stone. We got him on because we did an episode about murder, and then he has a clip.
Oh
from
yeah,
the cellar,
yeah.
The crowd work clip, and it was like,
I love Greg.
Yeah, he's a
great
machine
dude.
gun of energy.
Yeah, he really is. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah. So hey, Matt, I'll reach out to Alex. But
yeah, let him know. Show him my bit so that he rolls his eyes at it. Good.
Well, I would have to find a better bit from him, or a bit about a different topic from him then. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Can't have 2 friend zone episodes like back to back. Although maybe that would be some good context. But and the last one I wanted to talk about was this dude. I don't even know this guy's name. I didn't care to learn it, but I just looked up like getting friend zoned on YouTube, and this dude had like an hour-long video, like trying to coach people through it, like what to do if you get friend zoned by the girl that you like.
Ew!
How to win her over.
Ew! Yucky!
Yeah, I was watching it last night and I was laughing because
what a loser!
This can't be real.
You pull it up. It's me doing a TED talk. Oh yeah, I remember doing that.
I was like,
no, that's so stupid though. An hour-long video.
Oh, let's
directly
Jeremy, I think
made for incels or whatever.
Pretty much. And it really felt like this transactional thing, like people looking at it as this transactional thing. And that's why I kind of wanted to balance it out with Alex's bit about it, because it's defining a human relationship as transactional. Like, where is your happiness? Like, how do you live?
There's no present. You're not present in that. You're either. No. That's fucking crazy, dude. Let me see what can I get of this.
Yeah.
I want to guess what this guy looks like. Is he wearing a purple vest? Possibly.
I don't think. I'm sure he has one.
Let me see. Oh, this fucking guy?
This fucking guy. He's wearing a blazer over a t-shirt kind of guy. Coach Corey Wayne.
What had happened in the previous emails, he'd walked away because she was constantly trying to friend zone him, keep him as a text buddy and all this bullshit. And he finally put his foot down and just said, "You're awesome and you're amazing, but I'm just not interested in friendship. And, unless things change, please respect my wishes and let me move on with my life." He says, "I set a FaceTime date like you recommended in my previous email just to find out that she tried to friend zone me again. Well, if you've been a big floppy cock in the past, like this guy has been over the past several years that he's known this girl, she's always been able to intimidate him and get him to cave. Because that's what happens to guys. They think, okay, well, maybe this time will be all right. I'll just be nice, or I'll be the friend for a little bit, and maybe things will change." It's like, no, you just completely went back on your word. Women want a man who says what he means and means what he says. If you're a big floppy cock and you say one thing and you do another, they're not going to trust your masculine core. "I was feeling down like hell, but I did tell her again that I'm not interested in friends only or texting buddies, and that she should only call again if she changed her mind." That was really hard. It took months and months for him to grow a set of balls to get to the point where he could say that to her.
All right, stop.
All right, I can't watch this anymore. But I will say this: the guy makes some points. Like, he is saying what this guy should have done, but the way he's framing it is so fucking queefy. Mm-hmm. But when you do like someone and they are just talking to you, I mean, you can say to them like, "Hey, I have feelings for you," and talking to you is kind of bringing those feelings up. I know that nothing is going to happen here. So if you mind just kind of taking a little bit of a step back because blah, blah, blah. that is fine. You can say that, but who says that? Just fucking ignore the text. You don't have to answer every email. Who's emailing?
Right.
Who is emailing?
Right. And
stupid.
The way he frames that too is it sounds like he had reached out to this girl before, and then she wasn't into it, and then he was like, I'm not going to talk to you, and then he reached out to her again, and then she wasn't feeling it, and he was like, how dare she? It's like, dude, you reached out to her the second time.
Yeah,
like,
dude. Yeah,
come on.
It's like interpersonal relationships are so much more complicated than this dude in the green shirt made it fucking seem. Like he's going, then he grew this big floppy cock and he finally put his balls on the table and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't know. It seems like everyone involved in that story is a fucking douchebag.
And that's my time. Thanks, guys. He felt like an open mic comic. Like, and then this bitch.
I know, just the confidence is like, the fuck, dude. It's like, who gives it? I guess he was making some points, but it's the confidence that he was making those points when it was so queefy.
Queefy. I like your use of that adjective. I think a lot of this boils down to just the how complicated human interaction is, and
it's so complicated. But here's the key: communication. Talk to each other. Be honest. That shit will go away immediately. And then we all just can continue living, watching movies, jerking off into socks, and just living our life eating Burger King or whatever. That seems a little bit more specific to me. But, you get the point. Communicate. Talk to each other.
Do you think you're being a comic? Do you think that helps get to the point faster, like communicate faster?
Oh, yeah, because we're so much more aware. And also... we all hate our lives for the most part. So it's like, I have no room for bullshit anymore. The bullshit still comes, I still, cause emotions are incredibly, I don't know what the word is, fickle maybe, or not fickle, but like they, it happens. Like this thing I had with sometimes you'll have a thing with a girl like me, I had a thing where I said, I don't want you to date other people. And then the next day I was like, I completely amend that. I don't care I just don't want to hear about it, blah, 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 blah. And then the next day went by and I went, actually, I think I did. And that just happens with emotion, but you have to fucking communicate that. And also don't shit on anybody for if they're flip-floppy. That's what makes people not express their emotions, because they're afraid they're going to get shit on because maybe they thought something the other day and they don't think about that today. And no one wants to seem like a phony, Yeah.
People are dynamic. There's there's no static, people aren't static. There's no,
it's hard, man.
Yeah.
People are fucking, it's all hard. And you just going for the truth, man, makes it so much easier. Makes it so much easier.
So if you were to boil down, like, what is funny to you about the friend zone? What is it that drew you to that, to writing that bit, or how has that perspective changed?
What was funny to me about that bit is the way some people, I feel like I've been shitting on women a lot this whole fucking thing, but I feel like what's funny is the way that some people don't think that they think they're being smart with other people. So when a woman calls me a friend or a bro or whatever, they either know what they're doing and they think they're being smart, or they're trying not to hurt your feelings because they know they know. But it's still like that's what makes me laugh about it is like the no communication. This could all be solved if you just go, oh, look, I'm getting the vibe from you, and not to hurt your feelings, but I don't want anything, but it's like to call me like muchacho or something just makes me fucking laugh.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Cool. So what would you say to somebody who is struggling with being rejected, friend zoned, so on, and trying to, particularly like a comic who's trying to, not even a comic, somebody who's trying to find the humor in a situation to kind of deal with it?
I would say write about it. Sit down, think about it, write what you think is funny about it. Don't let it get to you. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a comic. If you're a comic and you're going through this shit, Focus on the work. Focus on the career. Focus on the art. Don't make all that shit go away. You'll be more present. It's a way to meditate when you're not thinking. When these people and other people are taking bandwidth in your brain or real estate in your head, you can, if you write about it and you work on it, you'll feel a lot better and stuff like that. If you're not a comic and you're going through this shit, just I don't know. Just fucking laugh. Just laugh at it. Once you start laughing, make yourself laugh at it. And once you do that, you'll just start laughing. You just go, this is so fucking ridiculous. This is so stupid. What am I complaining about? Who cares? You know, who cares?
Right. If they're out of the cereal you wanted at the grocery store, you don't just not buy cereal.
No,
you get the other brand.
Yeah. There's plenty of other oats in the box. There's plenty of other cereals in the grocery store.
Why did I go there? That's not demeaning at all.
Yeah, right. We're like, women are cereal, especially these tricks.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I would hope that women look at me that way too. So.
Yeah, you're more like Lucky Charms.
I am.
Or Kicks.
Kid tested, mother approved. That's weird. It's going to go in our pedophile episode. Steve.
Yeah.
Any parting words of wisdom, advice, any additional perspectives that you have that you would like to share?
The friend of your friend is your enemy.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Hakuna Matata.
The friend of your friend is your enemy. So if you have a friend who invites a friend, kill him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or get there first. Good advice. That'll be the quote graphic for this episode, I think.
Right.
Just remember, the friend zone is pretty much the exact dimensions of your own apartment.
Yeah. So very small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The room I'm in now is 141 by 113 square inches. I don't know. So that's how big my friend zone is. Today's guest was Brendan Sagalow. He's written for MTV's Joking Off. He's been on Sirius XM. He was a finalist in New York's Funniest at Caroline's, which I remember going to those shows. I used to work there back in 2012, 2013, 2014. So I've seen many of New York's
many
funniest.
of the finalists.
Yes.
Yeah.
But all good. I mean, it's the cream of the crop.
Hey,
The
baby,
best of the best.
Even being in that was an honor.
Yeah, and those rooms usually pack out for those shows too. So.
Oh yeah, it was sold out.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
That's always fun. So
Yeah.
You can get Brendan's album Not Now More Than Ever on Amazon, iTunes. You can listen to it on Spotify. It's Pandora, I'm
It's
sure.
on everything, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it in the XM or Sirius?
Oh, we're in rotation. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Cool, man. That's awesome. And it being outside, I mean, that, like you said, that's a pretty big risk. Sometimes you lose those laughs to the fact that there's not a ceiling to hold them in.
Totally. And I'm happy that it's like just a part of the time, I guess. It's like a little fucking time capsule.
It really is. I had the same thought as I was listening to it. I was like, man, people are going to listen to this years down the road and be like, I remember the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the complete opposite, where they're just going to go like, oh, whoops. Who cares? Who cares? Why did he make this?
Right. I was looking for Brendan Donnelly's album.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug? Social media? Any projects coming up?
Yeah, you could follow me at Brendan Sagalow. I got no projects coming up just of yet, but I got my podcast with Mike Feeney and Mike Cannon. It's called Here's the Scenario. You please check it out. That would be awesome.
Yeah. What is the theme of that?
We do like hypothetical questions and like what if scenarios and stuff, and like ask each other all this, like, what would you do in this situation kind of stuff. But we've been best friends for years, so there's like a dynamic whole thing to it. So it's
Sure.
like, it's a fun show. I'm really proud of it.
Awesome. How long has that been? How long have
We
you
just
been working on
launched. I think we're on our 4th episode, but we've had a Patreon for a couple of months.
Yeah,
But we're on episode like 6. I think episode 6 comes out Wednesday, so you can fucking hop on real early.
Right, you can listen to the pilot and follow it all the way through without devoting that much of your time to it.
Yeah, bro.
All right, Brendan, thanks for joining us on
Guys,
You
thanks
Can't
for
Laugh
having
at
me.
That and helping us prove that no matter if there is little to no communication, if you go in for the kiss and she's like, why did you do that? You can laugh at that.
For sure. And don't rape. Nobody rape anybody.
Yeah.
Was that Chad Daniels joke? Drive safe and don't rape.